Of JCP versus Phoenix. I am your play-by-play caster Miraculous, and I am joined by your color caster Enzo. Enzo, what are you thinking about tonight's match?
I'm very excited. These two teams aren't doing so hot, but I believe both of these teams are in a position to where they can start making a climb up the standings, and I'm very interested to see where this game is going to go.
I agree. Phoenix, they're I mean, this is a game of underdogs in general, but Phoenix is, I guess, the true underdogs here. We are starting out on Lijiang Tower, so we're going to see if Phoenix can finally get their first win, or if JCP is going to be able to tie it up. Fight coming right out. A prize goes down right away with 7 Maples. Junkrat is king on Lijiang Tower, and that's going to be an early push in for JCP, or for Phoenix. Phoenix just able to sort of get JCP out. Mac does find the beast, and a prize is already back, so that's going to be a little bit of a struggle. Now we find Phoenix on the back foot, and JCP actually already able to take mostly point control. Now it's back and back even fight. That's the beauty of early respawns and that Lucio on both sides. Not really too much happening. The neutral game happened, just Reinhardt's exchanging. Kaiser takes down Beast's Immortality field, but not too much happens. A Prize's shield is down. Tire coming out from 7 Maples. It's climbing. Is it going to be able to find anybody? No, Mew managed to find an excellent beat in response. Nat comes out with the wall, trying to find some value. 7 Maples manages to find Candy for Days. Nat goes down, but Mac also goes down, and that is going to find JCP on the back foot, forced to retreat. And it even looks like Phoenix managed to cap point during that whole fight, so they have a distinct advantage here.
Yeah, it was really good early aggression. They got a pick, but then their Baptiste died randomly, which kind of gave Phoenix an entry, but they didn't manage to capitalize on it. Or sorry, the JCP an entry, and they just
And Nat takes down Mew. That's an excellent pick. We have the turret just slowly taking down the Immortality field. 7 Maples uncontested, taking down Candy for Days. Vic manages to knock out a prize. Both tanks for JCP are down, and JCP is struggling a little bit. They're finding themselves very much on the back foot. They're losing fights very early, and they're losing key targets in those fights.
They really are. I mean, 7 Maples are just getting so much values on this Junkrat, charging Riptire after Riptire, and they just can't seem to find the damage in return, and the heals just aren't there.
They're not playing fast enough into this spam. That's one of the things that you have to be careful about, but they're just taking too long in these rotations and it's really struggling. The wall blocks a Prize's shatter. That's going to hurt. Prize manages to rotate real quick around, but he's finding himself pressured. He managed to block Max's shatter, and that's not going to find much. Kaiser's first Riptire gets taken down, and Nat takes down a Prize, but that will be 7 Maple's second Riptire coming in to clean it up, going for Candy for Days, manages to find him, and that is going to be a stagger for Dryjack. This fight is over. We do have Mew over here on the side looking maybe to get a contest and just trying to get a little bit of time for his team to come in and save him, but he alerted the team to his presence by peeking a little bit and poking. A Prize goes down to Beast. And now it's looking just like JCP is fighting for their lives. We see CSPPP's a bomb comes out. It does find Kaiser and Candy for Days' Immortality field. Mew gets Beast finally, but is then taken down by Max. 7 Maples just cleaning up. He's uncontested. They don't know how to contest this Junkrat. They don't know what they're doing, and that is going to be map 1 of Lijiang going to Phoenix.
Wow, that was just crushing. The DPS were just doing so much damage, and they didn't know how to find an angle of entry. And when they tried to find an angle of entry, they just immediately got shut down by that sim barrier, and ults getting extremely low value, and no one seeming to find just any entry through that solid wall put up by Phoenix.
I agree. Phoenix's DPS were just uncontested, and without somebody there to actively shut down the Junkrat, he was able to find so much value. And I don't care how much healing you have, if a Junkrat's running uncontested into your sideline, you're not going to do much.
Yeah.
We do see both teams rolling out with a sim comp here, so this will be interesting. Phoenix does get point control first. That's a big boot by Vic onto Metcub. That you don't have that sim damage early. That's basically a lost fight already. That sim damage is so important building up. We see Nat already managed to take out a prize by doing, and Candy for Days by doing just that. But you lose both DPS right away. That's not looking good for your first fight.
That is a lost fight. Yes, I mean, when you have Vic on Reddit so much, what can you do? You just instantaneously lose your sim, and the fight's basically over. Not having that access to the turrets and the really consistent damage of that laser beam as they regroup for trying to retake on this bridge.
I'll say Phoenix is looking a lot stronger than they have been. JCP have been performing pretty well throughout their games, but they're looking lost as Vic finds a double boop. That is a play of the game moment looking opportunity right there. CSPP also staggers Matt Cub. That's going to be a little bit slow. Matt Cub switching over off the Symmetra. And no very late stagger by Mew. Without your Lucio to speed boost you, and that's going to look bad.
Oh no, that is depressing. Losing your Lucio right at the end of that fight like that. They're pulling out all the swaps. Mick now on the Echo and Kaiser on the Mei, trying to change things up, trying to find a way in as they make their way around the left side. But let's see how this goes.
It's going to be so hard for them to find that point control now that Phoenix has that established ult economy and the Symmetra on point. It's going to be so difficult. And as we see, the fight is already over. The early wall, or the early window by the Beast, just cleans it up, and Mac is left on his own. Mew manages to peel for him a little bit, but goes down himself.
No, JCP is just getting consistently picked apart by the DPS of Phoenix. And they just can't seem to find any picks of their own while periodically just randomly losing a member or two, and it's really hard to play like that.
Baptiste goes down in the rotation. It's already not looking good for JCP's final push. The Mei Wolf coming in. Kaiser gets frozen. We see a Lock get frozen. That is a clean single ult fight from JCP. Matt Cub is stuck on point, trying to live. He breaks out the immortality field with the Baptiste at copy, but it's not going to be enough. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to touch, and that is map 1 going to the side of Phoenix. This is not the game that we were expecting.
That was crazy. The fact that they came out swinging and just 2-0'd 200-0 wins. That's totally unexpected. And oh, look at this boop. That's just
it's
disgusting.
A beautiful boop. Oh, the Junkrat tried to save himself.
Oh man.
Phoenix wants that win. They have everything to prove. They are down 3 in this league so far. I think everybody's been sort of counting them out. People have been thinking, hey, Phoenix, nothing to worry about. And Phoenix is not going to take that anymore. If they manage to keep this up, then I would be scared of this team because they are playing very well together.
They are just looking so in sync with one another, and the DPS are just really, really on point with finding these kills and finding all these different angles that just make it really impossible for JCP to even attempt to play the game. I don't know. It's just the rotational play also from JCP, not really finding the fastest rotations, being able to play around that poke. And then when they do rotate, they're not connected, and so they end up getting picked off, and it just doesn't work out for them. It's not so good to see.
If I had to say what JCP looks like right now, it would be scattered. They're not rotating together. They're staying out way too long, getting picked, or either late or early. They're going for these kind of weird pokes against a Symmetra Junkrat or a Symmetra Mei composition in this case, and that is just, you're going to get taken down if you're not careful, and that's, you just can't get sloppy against spam. You really can't, and Li Zhang is the spam map right now, and so it's that's going to be very rough, and I hope JCB can adapt to that. Otherwise, they're going to struggle.
Yeah, definitely. They need to start playing more as a team. They need to start playing more together, and they need to start finding value out of their ultimates. I mean, I'm not sure if they got a kill with any of their ultimates across both those maps. I mean, that's just ridiculous. You never see that. But it's just, with how disconnected they were the entire time and how everyone was randomly getting picked off, it was truly just impossible for them to get any progress, and that's what happens. That's how you get such a swift 2-0 on control.
As someone who's coached and played in these kind of games before, I know exactly what that feeling is, where you're all holding on to all game, and then the one opportunity comes out for you to use it, and everybody uses it at once, and it is a panicked, not very fun thing to be dealing with. And so
Yeah.
I think that JCP can very much still be in this. I'm not saying at all that it's how, but they want to take a deep breath. They want to calm down. I think that if they pull together and they play like they have been playing, they're gonna be fine. But I think maybe they were, we're going up against a team that's 0-3. They might not have been taking it as seriously as they could have been, and then got pushed onto their back foot. So I think with a map to reset, then I think they'll be able to do it.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that I think is actually kind of weird is Beatrix was a player that I noticed from the past 2 JCP games doing exceptionally well on Lijiang Tower, particularly. He has the 4th highest damage in the league, and I'm not 100% sure why they aren't playing him. I don't know. It seems strange, and yeah, I'm not sure why, but we're having just a weird roster change up that might be affecting things.
That's a good point. I played against Beatrix myself earlier on in the league, and I do remember his play being very strong, so I am quite surprised. We are going to be moving on to our next map, which is Route 66. This is a payload map, a bit of my favorite. I don't know if it's a fan favorite per se, but I've always enjoyed the rustic South American Southwest. Do you think that JCP is going to have a little bit more better footing here, now that they don't really have to push into this close quarters type of thing where spam reigns supreme?
Possibly. I'd like to see what kind of composition they're going for. It looks like they're going for a pharmacy right out the gate, which is an interesting way of handling this point. Defensively, I'm really interested to see what they're running, because there's a number of different ways you can hold this map. You can just sit on top of the gas station, or you can do like a really aggressive full choke hold. And it seems like they're running double bubble, which is a fun thing. I like seeing double bubble. I haven't seen much of double bubble from either of these teams. And with that Ashe, I like this composition coming out of Phoenix. I think they have a potential to do really well, especially with that Ashe countering preemptively the pharmacy that they're going up against right now.
I agree. Double bubble is a joy to watch when it's done well, and I'm really excited to see if Phoenix can deliver on that promise. The pharmacy is an interesting choice because it's not like we don't see hit scan here on Route 66. So I guess they're really relying on Kaiser to find that value as the Pharah, despite the pretty much guaranteed hit scan on the other side. We have a bit of a neutral fight coming in. Creeps finds a absolutely massive right click onto Ashe and Brigitte, Nat and Vic. That's gonna be a big step backwards for Phoenix. Max goes down as well from Phoenix. Creeps just trying to take out Beast now, and the Stragglers. DS is backing out now. He realizes that he doesn't want any part of this. This fight's already lost, and that is a very early fight win for JCP.
That is just unlucky. That doesn't happen every time ever. That is such an insane play that has really just instantaneously made the first push super easy, unless they decide to contest, which it looks like Max is going for.
Yeah, it's one thing for your support to say, "Oh, feed a little bit, take a little damage," but it's another thing to go down. And Phoenix does not touch the point. JCP is able to just roll it in. That is very unfortunate. I guess I don't know if Max just wasn't aware, because now they're winning the fight. Nat is cleaning up with the 4K, but they didn't touch the point. That's strange. And now JCP or Phoenix is going to find themselves having to retreat despite winning the fight.
They C9'd in what would have been such an amazing thing, but now they're going to get aggressively spawned on because they gave them forward spawns, because they They just didn't touch the point. That is very sad for Phoenix.
Max on the left engaging on half health, the support player's nightmare. He does manage to pop the Primal Rage though. He's trying to boop, trying to find some value with it. Don't know if he will be able to. He's in deep. They invest Nano, they invest Bob, they invest Bubble, all to try and save him. And it looks like it might happen. Beast looking awful low in the back line. However, a prize does eventually find Max, but not before his entire team comes back in to save him, fulfilling that double promise. Vic with the late rally, I guess maybe a little bit of a flex, a little bit BM. You know, we don't even need it, but we'll see.
Maybe.
Max is coming back, so if JCP plays this fast, they'll have the advantage.
I mean, possibly, but JCP has 6 ultimates to coming on to 1. That was really strange by Vic. I'm not sure what happened there, but
very much so. A great combo grab bubble barrage. That is the thing you love to see as the far as the peel from your team, because too often that Q ends up being a press this to die button as far as. So that was very cleanly executed. They knew exactly what they were going for there.
Very, very well done by JCP. Basically taking a free team fight for just 2 ultimates and maintaining this crazy ult advantage that they have because of Phoenix's poor ult usage earlier.
A very nice window there, just able to fire. They didn't stuff the choke. Instead, they decided to step back and able to just fire in on it. Vic goes down, Nat goes down to a prize, and that is going to be another just super clean fight win by JCP. They look like they are feeling a lot better on this open map than they were on the other.
Definitely. This pharmacy, though there is still an Ashe on the enemy team, this pharmacy is not getting contested super hard, not getting really shut down. And they're kind of having free reign to just deal a heck of a lot of damage, and that's what they're doing, and just rolling over most of these fights.
On this third point, especially, the Ashe is going to struggle a little bit more. It's a lot easier for this Pharah to take these weird angles to creep around. We do see the grab come out, the Nano come out onto Max. That's going to be a very clean push straight into the enemy. Mew goes down, and that is a double ult usage from the side of Phoenix, but it does take the fight. And it looks like CSPP just switched back over to D.Va. He wasn't even staying on the Zarya, so that is not bad for a throwaway switching ult.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that is the best feeling as Reinhardt, just getting to just swing their hammer right into 5 people. Really great, and just solid ult economy, just good play.
And Max is in an especially good position here coming up. We do see Nat's Bob come out, but Max has Shatter. He didn't manage to find anything with it, but a prize does not have it. We do see Max trying to salvage it with a high noon, but not too much is going to happen. Max, Phoenix is already on the back foot. They're already backing out, forced to rotate. Creeps aggressively using his Graviton Surge for the staggers. It's a little bit of an interesting play, but these staggers are important as there is only 15 meters or so left for this payload. They're
so close. They're gonna make ends meet eventually. I can see why.
A big pick on the Kaiser, but Mac matches it with a pick on the Nat. A prize doesn't find anything with his Shadow. That's very unfortunate. Emo does go down for the side of Phoenix. 7 Maples finding Mac again. A prize manages to take out his counterpart Reinhardt. CSPP knocks out Muse, Emo. And now we have Candy flying around his Mercy trying to save her team. Oh, Kaiser coming in with the ult, but not being able to find anything. That is what the D.Va pick was for. We see 7 Maples May ult come out, a prize get caught in the blizzard, and that is going to, it looks like, win the fight for Phoenix if they can just clean up these last few kills. JCP staggering a little bit now. They need to get out and not stagger. They need to regroup. They only have 1:40 left on the clock.
Yeah, that fight, they had a slight ultimate advantage, but they didn't quite take advantage of it in the way that they could have, and they ended up just taking a dry fight versus Phoenix, and they had respawn advantage, so it was a lot easier for them, and ultimately, Phoenix ended up charging their ults, and then the ult advantage was gone, and now they have just a defensive position where they can try and solidly hold.
Well, speaking of ults, JCP is coming up on 4, but it's not going to matter because Mew goes down early in the fight. He does get res, but that's going to be res coming out to the side of JCP. Kaiser finds Nat. Creeps kills himself on his bomb. Mac does find the Beast, however, and he's taking this great off angle. D.Va has to come up there and pressure him. He could get caught here. He is staggering him. He's caught alone. There's no way your supports are going to be able to save him that far deep. McCree on a mission. And that is going to be a little bit of a wait for JCP as they wait for their DPS to come in for their almost their last push.
Yeah, once again, a little bit disconnected we're seeing from JCP again. The DPS kind of doing their own thing while the tanks are just getting obliterated in this tiny little choke that they're forced through.
Nat's High Noon comes out. Is it? Oh, that's massive. You hold that High Noon, you wait for it, and that's what you get. That's a 3-piece combo on the prize, Mac, and somebody else. It's already gone off my screen. That was excellent, and there is no feeling better for playing McCree as holding onto that High Noon and just slamming everybody on the enemy team.
She just waited for it, and it worked out perfectly. You can't get a better noon.
Barrage coming out from the side of Kaiser, and Mac pops High Noon. I don't think he finds anything with it, maybe just using it to reload. Prize finding 2, Creeps finds Vic, and Nat. The tanks are carrying on the side of JCP. That is a very clean win. They had all those ults, and it was just a matter of time when you're that close to the payload. And now Phoenix is going to be forced onto stall picks if they want any chance of contesting this. Max coming out on the ball, just trying to snuggle. Beast already goes down. That's unfortunate. You don't have that MO. You don't have that you don't have the regenerative burst. Great ult by 7 Maples, though. You don't have that Lucio, so it's going to be a lot harder for a prize to regroup. Mac does find Nat mid-High Noon, though. That's unfortunate, and it looks like Phoenix is just not going to be able to. Although Beast is already back, he does manage to save from that Earth Shatter with the Immortality Field. He pops the window, finding a prize. That is massive. Mac finds Beast, but at this point, it's going to be anybody's fight. The respawns from the side of Phoenix are so close that they are just hanging on by the skin of their teeth. They are managing to find these little picks, but at this point it's an overtime, and it looks like JCP's fight. Unless Mac, Max walks off the point, and that is going to take that point. 3 points for the side of JCP.
Considering how the first point went, that's pretty good. Honestly, they literally insta-rolled through first point. So even getting there, even the fact that they held to overtime is decent. I would be pleased with that if I was Phoenix.
Me too. That was a very decent hold. Overtime on 3 points against how strong, like you said, JCP just came out the gate. So we're gonna have to see if they can match that same kind of ferocity on offense.
Really, JCP just had such a crazy momentum, and that got halted really well on that second point. But ultimately, there were a few mistakes, and then just not finding enough value out of the ultimates that just made it really difficult for Phoenix to hold in that last moment. And then the stall picks coming out, but it just wasn't enough for them to really make it all the way.
I agree, and I think JCP has the tendency to maybe panic a little bit with their ultimates once they get knocked onto their back foot. They don't use them extraordinarily pacing well. They overuse them or tend to underuse them, because there were a couple fights that Phoenix won. Phoenix won one fight with just a window, and JCP had ults that they just wouldn't use. So now we're gonna have to see if this will work for the side of JCP, if they're going to be able to pull that together or get pushed onto their back foot, as happens with defense. We do see just a little bit of the neutral fight here. CSPPP uses both of his bubbles, and a prize is going in deep. He is antied. It's gonna require the investment of that Immortality Field. Kaiser does find Nat, which is going to shut that push down a little bit. They're going to hold on just a second. Max still be able to keep that cart presence, forcing them out. The whole team rotates to try and take care of the Tracer. And once again, the neutral game starts again. Nat switching over from the Ashe onto the McCree for a little bit more of that front line damage.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. It does just do straight up more damage, and they're holding really aggressively, JCP is, and it's like taking advantage of that with the creep.
Max goes down, and that's an early shatter. Very good one at that by a prize. It's both tanks down from the side of Phoenix. That's going to look rough, but a big pulse bomb from the side of Seven Maples onto Candy for Days and a prize. Nat takes down Mew. Mac takes down Nat, and CSPP is back up for the side of Phoenix. Now JCP is on the back foot, and that early hold is going to shoot them in the foot.
Oh my gosh, JCP was playing a beautiful brawl as Freddy getting a super early Earth Shatter, and then Seven Maples comes out of nowhere and just ruins everything with that early double kill with the stick.
That pulse bomb was beautiful.
That was insane play. Looking to see if JCP, are they going to try and contest again? Try and stop this?
I think they are. Max is going to meet them there, though. Popping the primal range, trying to knock them around. CSPP does find Mac Cub. That's going to be a good pick. Without that McCree, you're missing a lot of damage. Creeps goes down at the hands of Nat with the sleep to boot. Candy for Days does pop the beat, so that's going to be a little bit of a sustain for them. We see the High Noon come out from the side of Nat. Only manages to find Candy for Days, but that's still a big pick. Vic reses 7 Maples. That's going to be good. Our prize stuck on point with Mac Cub, but it is looking like a lost fight for the side of JCP unless they can pop some nasty ults. But 7 Maples is the one popping the ults. He finds Mew. That's a big pick without the Baptiste. You were lacking so much sustain. Creeps does find Matt. This is a messy, drawn-out fight, and JCP is clinging to this fight in every way. The Nano comes out on the creep on the CSPP just to finish it up. Candy for Days is stuck, and that is going to require a little bit more investment than Phoenix probably would have liked, but it is going to take them first point.
7 Maples really doing a crazy amount of work on that Tracer, and then just a bunch of ults by Phoenix as well. So JCP will end up having an advantage in that case if they want to try and maybe take an aggressive recontest. But the ult economy looking weird, not very good for Phoenix. They did use probably a lot more than they wish they had to. And
I agree.
We'll just have to see what Phoenix can do to try and get this push going.
I like a Prize's aggressiveness here, and it's going to net him 2 in that Earth Shatter. That was very clean. Creeps does go down to the hands, and now if you're playing Roadhog, it's going to happen. But the rest of your team is in the back line, picking up kills. Nat caught on the flank alongside his Ana the Beast. That's not good. That's 2 important staggers that are going down while the rest of your team was up. That's what happens when you overextend and get yourself caught on a flank. That's not going to be good. That's a few seconds off the clock, and while it may seem just a few, those few seconds add up.
Be very important in charging ults and keeping people alive. And I'm really loving the very in syncness coming out of Ryan and Lucio. They're going for these really aggressive speed shatters, and they're working out really well.
I agree. Max pops the Primal Rage a little bit, we'll say ambitiously. That was... He hops in, doesn't manage to find it much. He gets frozen. They pop window in response, and he gets out. So I guess you got window out of it, but, in a very brief feeling of what it's like to have 1,000 health. But overall, not too much can be found. A prize moving very aggressively onto the JCP front line now that they are down their tank. But Nat is able to just light him up. He's McCree. He does a ton of damage. Vic finds creeps. That Zenyatta is going to have that Roadhog's number any day of the week. Mac does find a nice double kill, but Beast is able to shut him down. There's only so much one McCree can do. Story of my life as a McCree player. 7 Maples takes down Kaiser for a late pick, and JCP is forced to back out. They're going to have to recontest now without their whole team.
They got caught out, but they were aggressive. The Ana getting a lot of value, and just ultimately taking out that Reinhardt super early, making the fight really difficult.
Very nice High Noon from the side of Nat. Manages to find Mac Cub. Creeps does find 7 Maples. That's big. Without that Tracer harassing your line, that's a lot of things, because 7 Maples has been finding so much value that it's going to be good to take her out. But Nat just cleaning up. He's got the Ana power. Just every kill he's assisted by Ana, and the Zarya too is playing such a good game. Phoenix is having a great game for themselves. And at this point, Mac just trying to stagger it out, but he is going to go down. That is going to give second point to Phoenix.
And, you know, Max's Primal Rage earlier was definitely a little strange, not very good, but at least he charged it incredibly quickly and had it up for this fight, so it didn't end up mattering all that much.
That is true. We did see Grav come out from the side of Phoenix as well in that last fight, and we're going to see the switch over onto the Diva now. So we are running just traditional Rush. This is as beautiful Rush as you see. A prize with a big shatter, but not going to be able to match. The Mei wall comes up, the shield comes up. They're not going to be able to capitalize on that, and that's got a sting. A prize not being able to find very much in that shatters is going to sting over and over again, but it does force out Phoenix. For the time being, they're going to have to recontest, but they are speeding in right now. They are coordinated on these speeds, just like you said, using the cart for cover, able to kind of just push push JCP back without really having to rely on too much besides just the cart. JCP doesn't, they're a little bit more reluctant to play the aggressive game at this point because they know that they only have a minute left and they kind of want to stagger this out. We see the ammo come out and the window come out from the side of Phoenix. It's going to take down the Mei wall from the side of Kaiser. Max overextends and finds himself punished, though. Mac pops High Noon, is not going to be able to find anything, but he does push back CSPPP and the rest of Phoenix. They're now going to have to wait for their Reinhardt or risk not having a last push.
That was a definitely pretty scary fight, but ultimately clutched out by JCP, finding some ultimate usage.
Both Mei ults coming out. Wow, this is a crazy ult fiesta we see. High Noon come out, window come out, the immortality field comes out. Nat's High Noon does find Kaiser. That's big. You don't have one of your big stall characters. He's already back though. Creep's not able to find the remet kill that he was looking for. We do see CSPPP's ult come out, and it does land Candy for Days in the crossfire. That is going to keep JCP on the back foot. 10 seconds remaining. 7 Maples finds him at Kaiser. We need to stall JCP. Can we get anybody on it? But, oh, not able to. That is going to give them 1 second more than JCP.
That last fight was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. They all just stood still for a second because of Mail. That was amazing. And ultimately, just JCP found just more picks, more kills that just allowed them to take the point into the final and close out that round for them with a 1-cented advantage on the time bank.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting fight. I think that now that JCP has found a little bit more of their footing, these are two very evenly matched teams. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think we've been very much hyping up the side of Phoenix because they are sort of these underdogs and they're 0-3, and we want them to we want to see them get that win. But JCP is not playing a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. They have some of the best aggression that I have managed to see in a lot of brawl teams, but it is that Lucio Reinhardt coordination coming out that is just absolutely letting them be so aggressive, and it's absolutely beautiful to see.
Yeah, I'd love to see a lot more of it and more people getting in on it. I'd love to see more coordination with the DPS, even having them get in there and having these really aggressive, just almost death balls that can just roll over games sometimes.
We are seeing a brawl pirate ship from the side of JCP. We have the Mercy for the res, the Immortality. This is a traditional brawl pirate ship from the side of JCP, and that is going to be difficult for Phoenix to crack without managing to land a very clean pulse bomb and taking out those supports. Kaiser playing the Torbjorn, so I double. Oh, that's a big pick onto Candy for Days from the side of 7 Maples. That's huge. You don't have that res. You only have 20 seconds. Mac goes down, and you invest everything into this pirate ship. That is what happens. That is the downside. It can be so powerful, but it can also go down in a heartbeat. And now they're going to be forced onto stall picks if they want any attempt of winning this.
They really did come out with attempting. They were trying their hardest, and they went with a pirate ship, which I don't hate. I think that's a decent idea to try and get good cap time, but sometimes it just gets shut down super early on by flankers.
They are still managing to hold on to cart. Seven Maple is looking to he's got that pulse bomb. He's looking to use it. He's been managing to use it extremely well the past few times. Diva is aware of him though. Creep says, "Get out of my backline. You're not landing another one of those on us." A prize with the ball does find Vic. That's a big pick without that damage to help you. Mew pops the window in the back. We see the... Oh, they walked off point. Oh, that's unfortunate. That was very much still a fight that could have gone in JCP's favor, and they walked off. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely. Candy for Days getting caught out in both fights, making it very difficult. Losing that heals does make it very, very hard to keep that push up, and ultimately they lost because they didn't touch point because there was a primaling monkey on it. But yeah, definitely not good getting picked from Candy.
You know, as a Mercy playing in a Bastion comp, at points you are under far more pressure than the Bastion himself, because they know that you have that res. They know that even if they kill Bastion, that you can just make all of those hard-working cooldowns go to waste, and nobody wants to see that happen. So I can understand that perhaps Candy got a little bit, pressured. They were all converging on them. The Torbjorn was out of a little bit on top, so he didn't really have all the peel that he could have, and it's just a messy position. So I can understand getting a little panicked, but you have to have that sort of discipline in the Bastion comp.
Definitely. It's interesting. We're seeing a Roadhog on the defensive side from Creeps. Probably looking to find some picks early and maybe just halt the push where it stands by forcing easy 4v5s or 5v6s.
It's very possible.
Oh
Seven Maples does go down. He walks right past him. He doesn't even see him. That's so unfortunate for Seven Maples. That's a big pick by Creep. If you can find it, if you can find him. They gotta just walk right up to him and say, "I take me for free. I'm yours." SPP does Candy has the rest. It's so bad. Phoenix. That's so unfortunate, and Creep's able to find those blank picks. That's Phoenix a one last push, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, with JCP having cart control.
Creeps finding 2 with the Roadhog. Absolutely insane. As we know, Roadhog, one of the sneakiest characters in the game. Hard to see sometimes. And somehow Tracer just walking right past him. And then Zed just saying, "Oh, there's a
nice
there."
hook onto Max. That's going to make it a little bit difficult. We pop out the high noon from the side of Mac Cub. If he held this right, he could find some value with this. Doesn't manage to find anything, though. Does Kit take out a prize picks after the fact. Creeps does manage to trade for Vic, though. That's not good. You don't have that Zenyatta. That's not looking good. A prize comes right back up. So he's got that Mercy. Seven Maples only managed to find Candy for Days with that Pulse Bomb. Kaiser taking out the beast. Creeps popping the whole hog. Knocking out Seven Maples. A prize is back, and he is out swinging. What just happened?
They did not find
JCP won. Sorry, I thought it was switched around. I thought blue was switched. That was excellent. I thought they just walked off totally. That's my bad. But that was a very clean defense by JCP there at the end. That was just... Oh, what a nice high noon.
Creeps finding ridiculous value on the Roadhog in the last couple of plays, and then obviously just really well played by Nat, finding it just a nice angle and where they're going to go. Really well played by her in that instance. But yeah, that was a really good game from JCP. You know, snapping back. They got totally rolled, and they put their foot in the ground and said, "No, we're not just going to lose this." And
JCP, they like these gamble kind of plays. They like this Roadhog. They like the Bastion, things that are a little bit more risky that Phoenix seems reluctant to commit to. They played the Pharmacy. They are a little bit more, aggressive and willing to take that risk, and it paid off for them here in spades.
In this instance, definitely paying off very, very well and in hilarious fashion. I mean, it's always good to see a Roadhog popping off like that. And finding picks on the supports consistently is just brilliant. I don't know how he does it.
I mean, I've just got to ask. I don't know what Vic was thinking. Challenging that Roadhog. I guess he didn't think he was still going to be there. I guess he I guess he just wasn't aware of it, but he was charging up a right click, so maybe he thought he was going to poke or something. That was just so unlucky from the side of Phoenix, and I'd be kicking myself if that was me. That's really unlucky.
Yeah, that definitely does feel bad if you're Vic. Just coming around the corner where you know where Roadhog was, and then oh, he's still there, and all of a sudden you have 0 HP.
It feels so bad when you just see the enemy Roadhog's name just lighting up the kill feed. It's so infuriating. It's like, can nobody kill this guy? He's not hard to hit with your gun. So it's very
So big.
infuriating. We are going to be doing our next map is going to be Hollywood. JCP is going to be defending first,
Yeah.
and Phoenix is going to be attacking. So this is our hybrid map. I have mixed feelings about Hollywood personally, but I think that there's some great potential. I think we can get some really interesting comps. We can see some of the double bubble, see some of the rush, see some, even double shield at certain times. And I think that we could really see some nice gameplay here. So what do you think we're going to see from this match?
It's hard to say. One thing that I think we can expect is actually a pharmacy on defense. The defensive pharmacy I saw on Hollywood, I want to say in a JCP game, that did pretty well for themselves. I'm not quite sure what to expect coming from the side of Phoenix. I mean, there's a number of different things that could happen. They're probably gonna play Brawl because that is Phoenix's thing. They love Brawl. I assume they're probably gonna end up playing Brawl or Rush or some variation of that. And from JCP, I'd love to see more aggressive things. Really see them take it to Phoenix and, kind of tell them, hey, we're going to do this and you have to stop us. And really take initiative because that's just a better way of playing, I think. It's definitely it's just a nicer way to see people really take initiative and play aggressively and play actively versus a more passive style that you might see from other teams.
I totally agree with you there. I think that JCP is displaying a lot of bravado and just actual confidence in their play. They're pushing up fast. And yeah, sometimes they are getting punished for it. They're overextending, but a lot of times in these lower ranked leagues, you see a lack of aggression way more than you see over aggression. So I think that that aggression is really sort of forcing. I think Phoenix really excelled when JCP couldn't push into their spam like this, but now that they're not playing the spam, JCP is able to get away with a lot more, and I think that is going to be the difference about whether or not Phoenix can step back up and meet them to it, or if they're just going to continue to get shut down.
Yeah, the last thing I want to see is another map where JCP just gets totally rolled over on, because that was just sad. I mean, one thing is Hollywood, you could definitely play a lot of spam, and
especially on first point.
Especially on first point, there's some really tight choke points that can be really hard to make it all the way through. If you look at the comps, we have double bubble on Phoenix again, and then Brawl on JCP looking to probably hold that first point, really just hold that choke point with that May and that McCree, just taking control of the sight line and taking control of the area, just keeping it all locked down. And then you have the Winston looking to jump in and find picks with the Tracer. And Seven Maples has been doing really well on the Tracer, and so we'll see how much value he can get.
Agreed. I think that Ryan Zara is just a little bit more of a safer composition. So when you're on this defense, you can't really afford to take those early losses. Meanwhile, on offense, you have that spawn advantage where you can change things up if it's not working for you. And we're going to see just a little bit of an early poke, but nothing too much. They've got to be really careful about engaging into this spam because it's going to be difficult for them. They do jump onto Candy for Days. Candy for Days is forced to retreat Kaiser. However, on Max, I don't think he was aware that he was there, and he does manage to run away, but at the price of his entire team, because Price takes out Vic, he takes out Seven Maples, and that's just going to be that first point in the favor of Or that's going to be first fight in the favor of JCP.
Yes. JCP doing really well to stop that push, finding good picks onto both Seven Maples and also both of the supports that just make it almost impossible to play a fight.
We do see the Shatter come out from a prize. It doesn't manage to find anything. It's a great block from the side of Max. And we're going to be pushing in now. Phoenix trying to take some of that ground, trying to push them back. Imo coming out a little bit early from the side of Phoenix. That's not good. That could be a fight loser. And as we see, Max goes down. They don't have that Imo to save them. They don't have that ability to get them out of that pickle. That is not good. You do not want to use Imo to sustain like that. That is a very risky situation to use it. And that is going to force a retreat by Phoenix.
Indeed, they're really getting just totally just stomped by this Mei. They're trying to run into it and they just can't find an answer. They're just getting frozen and they have to use Lamp super early on, and then Max just dies for free and then you don't have a main tank. And then what are you going to do?
They need to be more careful with these support cooldowns, especially when you're running a Lucio. That BAP is all you have, and if you're not playing him effectively, then you're going to struggle. Kaiser does mess up his wall, not managing to split the team. Mac pops the high noon, doesn't really find any actual kills because the D.Va is just sitting there ready to eat it up. The side of Phoenix, their ammo field does go down, and now they're forced into this little bit of a tight corner, and the Mail coming in. This is like the second time he's done this flank Mail, and it is deadly effective. Max goes down, Seven Maples goes down, or sorry, Max doesn't go down yet, but it's just a matter of time. Vit goes down. Kaiser on the Mei is uncontested.
Kaiser really just showing up to play this particular map and doing just so much. And, Phoenix was just kind of sitting around in that little back alley area, and Kaiser knew, and they just stood there for just a second, and all of a sudden.
That's an awful stagger for Phoenix. Losing your D.Va, I mean, she was out of mech anyway, but that took so long, and that's going to take off a lot of time off their clock while they wait for that.
Definitely not good to see your D.Va dying in baby mech after getting to 60% ult charge.
An early grab comes out from the side of a massive high noon to match it on the Matt Cub, Candy for Days, and Mew. That's all your support line gone for JCP. JCP is now struggling. We do see Beast pop the window, which is a little bit of a, I guess a cleanup window, if you could say so. It's just, and the Shatter, the cleanup Shatter as well. I guess maybe JCP got a little bit of over-eager, a little bit trigger-happy because they blew 3 ults when they probably only needed the 1. But it is going to take that first point for them as JCP is forced to retreat.
Yeah, it seemed like they might have been getting a little bit nervous with only like 20-ish seconds on the clock, and so they're just like, we need this point. Just
yes,
hit our buttons. Anything to win the round.
But in this case, they do still have 3 more. That's all that you need to do on these kind of maps is just build up those ults, and then you can overwhelm your enemy, because what are they going to do when you use 3 ults in succession like that? Max playing very aggressively here. They use the 7 Maples Mail. That's going to be really effective. It's going to find a lot frozen there. Mew goes down. It's just a matter of time until Creeps goes down. Although they're backing up, we're going to be able to see whether or not they can actually do it. Great wall onto a prize. He goes down 2, and Candy for Days is staggering, and it looks like Creeps might as well. Oh, an excellent late pick. But Vic does trade his life for it, so not as perfect a situation, and Kaiser is hiding in the background with ult. Beast is aware of it though, and that is going to be a bad stagger for JCP.
That was a choice Kaiser made, definitely a choice. Really, 7 Maples finding such good value out of their Mei ult super early on, and just total disconnect. JCP never quite found a good area to hold.
We see both windows traded, and Mac does find Nat and pops the high noon as a result. Interesting high noon comes out from the side of CSPP, I guess just to remech and try and give them some space. Great bubbles from the side of Creeps. He's really just allowing his team to sort of run rampant in these aggressive positions. CSPP does find himself demeched and killed. And no matter how fast they retreat now, Phoenix is going to have to wait for that, and it's going to cut some time off their clock.
Really well done. Really good aggressive play, taking advantage of the fact that Kaiser, or taking advantage of just the slight overextension and then the two windows coming out and just finding better spam through their window and ultimately taking the fight.
We see them rotate up here onto the high ground, right into the waiting arms of Creeps with his grab. We do see Kaiser pop the ult, the beat to sustain from Vic, but it's not going to be enough. The damage coming out from JCP is uncontestable, and even though Max manages to take out a prize pick, nobody's going to be able to touch. This is... Oh, well, sorry. Correct me if I'm wrong. We do see Seven Maples and Vic looking for those late touches. We see the ult come out, if that's going to be actually able to find anybody. But nobody really in it. The MO comes out to save them anyway, and it's going to just extend this fight a little bit longer. Nat does find Matt come with the ult. Beast comes in, so maybe this fight isn't over quite yet. CSPPP does target the Creeps, trying to get him down, but Creeps has already got Beast down, and he follows it up with that, adding to his repertoire, adding on to his resume. CSPPP staggered on point, just trying to live. Vic just trying to touch now. It is a true stall comp from the side of Phoenix, just trying to make it, but Phoenix is just, or JCP is just knocking them down one by one. The grab coming out again from Creeps. That's a very quick recharge to grab, and that is going to stop Phoenix in their tracks just shy of second point.
Very quick, very well done by JCP. There was one difference in the comp, and that was Zarya, and Zarya was doing a lot of work in that game, really dealing a lot of damage. They tried to do a funny rotate thing, but they ended up getting a 6-man grab, which was not what you want to see, and they just could not quite find an angle to get onto that cart and get momentum and start that cart back up so that they could eventually get to the point and find a good team fight, but just never seemed to quite work out.
I agree. You know, I don't think that Phoenix was either aware enough or respecting enough that Zarya, because you know, it might have been an ult tracking issue that they just they weren't aware that she had grabbed. They weren't aware that she was going to be up there. You didn't have your D.Va scout up there first. They all rushed in. We are going to be pausing real quick. Is that going to be a DC, I suppose? Technical issues. Sorry. A quick pause coming from the side of Phoenix. So we're going to take a small little, just short pause while we wait for that to go on. But I think that, you know, it could be a technical issue from, or not a it could be an ult tracking issue from the side of Phoenix, that they just weren't aware, that they just weren't ready to match that Zarya, and the Zarya was too eager to take advantage of that.
Yeah, the Zarya high charge a lot of that game, dealing a ludicrous amount of damage. And then ultimately the rotates. You know, JCP was really rotating exceptionally aggressively and trying to match Phoenix, and Phoenix was just almost caught off guard by it and ended up just getting out damaged every fight, and it did not go well for them, to say the least. It seems like Nat's having a mouse problem.
Yeah, Nat had a little bit of a mouse problem, but Phoenix is going to confirm that they are ready, and that, so it looks like as soon as we get both teams ready up, we're going to be going back into it. You know, I think that JCP has a very winnable point here. You know, all they have to do is get it basically to second, which Streets phase, it's not exactly the hardest phase in the game. I think most people, when they play Hollywood, dread first and third. But Street phase, I think nobody really hates too much. So I think this is a very winnable fight for JCP if they play it well. We are seeing the Pharmacy come out on the side of Phoenix, which is interesting because we're also running the Ashe. You don't have that Ashe damage boost, and even though she can't one-hit kill headshot anymore, it can, those damage boost dynamites are not to be neglected. So we are still seeing the double bubble, so the Ashe and the Honor are going to be the kind of the open targets, but we're not seeing any sort of dive from the side of JCP's, so this could be anybody's game.
Oh, Mac waited till the last second to switch off of Widowmaker. I thought we were actually going to see a great.
I love to see a good Widowmaker. Neutral game coming out. Max looking a little unsure of where to engage. He's sort of wandering around. He dives out a little bit early, but you know, JCP taking a lot of a beating. Max does go down, but they trade for their Kaiser, and now JCP is stuck on point, or Prize is alone. even though Creeps is still finding picks. Actually, I think they were trying to back out, and Creeps was like, no, we win, and found 2, and they were like, oh, okay, well, get on point, guys. And, Phoenix just doesn't have the cart presence. Creeps just goes upstairs and just says, hey, guys, you can't just stay up here. I'm not going to let you just free fire on us. And that was such... we see Rush come out, finds Mew, doesn't manage to find anything else, though. Vic, 7 Maples both go down, and that's going to be a remarkably quick take by JCP. Creeps is having the map of his life.
He is smurfing, to say the least. They did a really interesting thing where they Maywalled off the main choke and rotated through IT, and I thought that the Rhine was totally dead. He got totally split from his team, but they never quite found him, and ultimately ended up turning the fight. That was a roller coaster. That was interesting.
We got 7 Maples back on the Tracer. Maybe this is a comfort pick. He seemed to be doing well with it earlier. Candy for Days is the only one on point. 7 Maples pressuring him. The rest of the team, he does find him. That's excellent pick. Creeps goes down. I think Phoenix is finally realizing they got to pressure him. They got to take him down. Kaiser trying to get this Tracer off the point. Very annoying. Trying to swat a fly with a not much of a shotgun. And I think that is going to... despite those early picks, that's not going to get them off point. We see the Bob to try and push them off point, but he's not in line of sight to actually do anything. Nano comes on to Max. He's going to dive in, try and find, but Mew pops the counter beat, says, get out of here, monkey. No way that tickle gun is going to do anything. Mac does find 7 Maples finally. You caught him in the back line. He knew where he was going to pop up. It's just a matter of time. And now, Phoenix is going to struggle here without their tanks in. Creeps with the aggressive grab it to find people but can't confirm the kill. It's just him. No matter how powerful you are on Zarya, it's going to be tough to kill 4 by yourself. Another Bob coming out from Nat. That was actually a relatively fast Bob. Time to Bob. The grab also coming out. It's just ult after ult after ult from the side of Phoenix. They know that this is their last shot, and it's not going to matter. Creeps takes out CSPP, and that's gonna win the map.
And
sort of an anticlimactic finish, to be honest.
A little bit. That fight was an absolute cluster of just ults and fights on all different points of the map. At one point, Creeps was by himself ulting 3 people just on top of a roof with no follow-up at all. But during that whole thing, while Creeps was doing that, there was just 3 people on cart, just pushing it along. And so what ended up happening was they didn't even realize that their cart was almost to the cap point, and then when they got enough picks, they just closed it out, and it was almost easy for JCP.
Well, apparently Creeps was a little bit high on JCP's on the higher end. He's on a Masters player tank, so he can only play for 2 rounds. He's graduated. He's out. They don't have him to rely on anymore. And so it's going to be up to JCP to actually try and drive this home without, arguably the MVP of that last map.
Yeah, Creeps definitely played well in that last 2. It's tough to see him go when you got a guy who's destroying so hard, really putting in the work that you expect from a Zarya who's high charge all the time.
Really, yeah. And the game sense just showed, right? Like, instead of taking that like weird angle fight, like it was just the awareness. He knew, like, hey, there's a staircase right there. They're alone up there. I'll just walk up there and kill them all, and none of them will look at me. It's just that sort of like, too many players would just sit there on low ground and fire up at this awkward angle and not do anything. And so,
really solid individual play, doing just wonders and making it just that much easier to just clean up in that instance where you're getting fired down. That's a really tough situation to break, and he was just like, ooh, do.
Yeah, it was almost anticlimactic just how easily he was able to clean up. We are going to be going on to Hanamura, though. This is going to be Phoenix's pick. And JCP is going to defend first again, so this is potentially the match, or this is potentially the last map. This is map point if Phoenix does not manage to take, like, sort of take it home and really pick it back up. They don't have to fight against creeps anymore.
True.
So we can. So I think this will be very interesting.
Yeah, Dryjack was definitely not doing super well in the first map that he played. Nothing of really note that was terrible, but it was all right. I mean, but we'll have to see. Hopefully, that they can keep this momentum from winning the past two maps in for the rest of the five players, and having one cool player hopefully shouldn't stop that too much.
I agree. Well, folks, we're going to take 5 minutes for a halftime. Don't go anywhere. We're just going to be taking a short break, and then we'll be right back into the action for map 4 of this very close series. Hello and welcome back. We are on map 4 of stage 4, week 4, JCP versus Phoenix and Owlet. I'm your play-by-play caster, Miraculous, and as usual, I am still joined by my color commentator, Enzo. Enzo, we are having a heck of a series so far.
Yes, as far to my knowledge, it's the first series to go to all 4 maps, or 4 maps at least, and I'm excited. This is really close. It's nail biting. It's interesting, and both these teams seem fairly evenly matched. I was expecting this coming in, and I mean it's really fun to see this two styles come at each other and really see these JCP really warming up and doing really just terribly in the first map, but not letting that stop them from coming out and making a comeback and doing their best to try and, not totally roll over in the series, which they've done very well.
I agree. I think the question now is going to be whether or not they can maintain this sort of strength now that their excellent Zarya player, Creeps, has been forced to not play anymore now that he is graduated. So this is going to be a very interesting set of circumstances to see whether or not that JCP can keep up their aggression or if they will crumble to Phoenix.
Indeed, it looks like Phoenix
Teleporter
is
strat.
going
It looks like from the side of Phoenix, they got the Mei wall. They're trying to do it. Then that's just going to be a great retreat. What a great use of the Mei wall. You see the symmetry. You know the teleporter is about to come up, and you just back out. They looks like they were trying to bait them with the teleporter. Beast took it anyway, used it to get to high ground. They find Mac Cub, and that's a great pick early on. That is going to be a huge disadvantage on the side of JCP. JCP is relying on a lot more less concentrated burst fire to be able to get these picks now. And now Phoenix is able to just rotate real cleanly that JCP is in a way defending now. And that is going to be just some early pickups. Surprise goes down, Kaiser goes down, Max cleaning up, taking out the Immo field, and Dryjack not going to be able to kill them all on his own. And that is going to, short of the exception of the stalling Lucio from Mew, which is quickly handled by CSPP. That is going to be a very quick first point take without using the teleporter, really, from Phoenix.
Indeed, almost going for like the fake out strat where you place the teleporter but don't go on it and then you just walk forward at them and they give you all that free space. And then Macab dying super early on just really made it difficult taking that long fight.
An early window coming out from the side of Beast. It's going to try and force JCP to move around and not be able to take their position they want to. Two shadows coming out, not really finding either from anybody. The very nice bomb coming out from CSPVP. It does manage to knock Candy for Days down and out. And more picks coming out from the side of Phoenix. Now this is 2CP. We do have the stall picks coming out as always. Mew's ultimate gets canceled. No beat for him. Not going to be able to sustain that way. And that is going to, short of Candy for Days, Dryjack. All right, well, we got some more reinforcements coming in. Matt Cub, the only person left on point. Mew is back now. Sans his ultimate Apprise, trying to stall it out. He's on the ball. He's trying to get rid of the turrets, but it's not going to do it. And what an excellent textbook Hanamura offense.
The first time they didn't take the TP, the second time they did, and they got onto that second point extremely fast and just rolled with it, using basically all their ults as soon as they got them, and that's all you need to do, especially when you just win that fight outright. And taking a swift advantage is always really good feeling. With the momentum of the match, just taking that early advantage is really nice.
And it sucks for JCP because they counterplayed the sim very well at the beginning. They denied the early teleporter with the Mei wall. They rotated back to point. It was an excellent play, but then Matt Cub went down early, and that's a lot of their damage. And Phoenix was able to just rotate around them, force them onto the offender side, because what are you going to do besides give up point? And it just ended up not working out for them, and that's very unfortunate because that was a great play with the Mei wall.
Yeah, because after Mac dies on the Kree, you just don't have enough damage to kill these tanks, and so Phoenix can just slow it down and just rotate through and just play the game out up a lot of damage, to say the least.
We see
And
the traditional rust. Oh, sorry to cut you off. We see the traditional rust come out from the side of JC or from Phoenix. They're just going to try and hold this like normal. And we do see the Pharmacy Sim come out from JCP. A little bit more of these aggressive sort of uh, enterprising strats from JCP. They're going to give up choke because of the sim teleporter. Sim teleporter is going to teleport onto apartments. Not going to be able to really find too much. It's just the Reinhardt's quarter swinging on each other, but a prize doesn't have the swim sustain that Max does, and he is able to knock him out. Matt Cub goes down. Kaiser finds Max, but there goes his Farah. And now, oh, poor Muse, staggered and alone in the apartment. That's going to be a back out for JCP.
Kaiser was doing really good that fight at finding a nice off angle and outputting all the damage he possibly could, but his Reinhardt just died, and they got totally rolled over, and Farah couldn't find any more value.
Well, that's the price you pay when you have that Mercy. Even the Lucio gives a little bit more support. And we see the very aggressive like the push in from the side of JCP. Phoenix is sort of pushed on the back foot, but they do pop that window. They're letting them kind of take the space. Prize pulls out the shatter, doesn't find anybody with it though. Mac does go down to Diva. That's going to be unlucky for them. That's a lot of your damage is in that sim. Nat busts out the high and noon, finds 2 with it. It is always so great to knock out that far as the McCree, whether you do it with high noon or not. And that is going to put both tanks and Mercy on the back foot now for JCP. Mercy pops the Valk, I guess just for some sustain, but a prize has already gone down. We see the Tracer come up from the side of Matt Cub, but this is JCP looking scattered here, and they're not looking like they have a plan.
They're not quite finding the coordination need to take out this just clump of people just murdering people from Phoenix, and Nat finding a wonderful defensive ultimate that just shuts down the push right away.
Yeah, and we got the neutral gun coming back out. The wall comes out from the side of Seven Maples. It's going to be good. Not able to find too much. We got them all bunched up in this room. JCP is stuck in this room. He does pop the ult. It's not going to find anything. Now Max doesn't even have to give up his shatter for it. And the JCP just looking split. Half the team stuck in apartments. Half the team rotates out. Nobody knows what they're doing. They're not on the same page. They're not playing together, and it's going to result in easy fight wins from the side of Phoenix. They're not really having to invest into these at all.
JCP is really just not playing together at all, and it's really costing them, and periodically one of them will just get picked out like Mako.
Like that. And Seven Maples knocking out Matko with a clean right click. That's all it takes, folks. One right click to the head, and Tracer goes down at the hands of May. Those icicles do not mess around. She puts rocks in them. It's confirmed by the devs. It's not gonna you can't mess around with that. Now she's back already because it is Tracer, but this is going to be a very early sort of neutral fight, just really rushing into it. Grab comes out from the side of Dryjack. He's just going to rotate straight on the point. It would be clean if the rest of his team went with him, but again, JCP is just struggling with these individual plays. They're getting split off. Dryjack not able to kill everybody at once. Matt Cub demech CSPV. Now that is a big demech. He does have to die. Candy for Days knocking out Seven Maples, but JCP is going to go down. Now it is up to stall at the hands of Prize, but even then it's not going to be able to do anything. The Junkrat trying to come in, Kaiser trying to come in, but not able to touch, and that is going to be a full hold from Phoenix.
Phoenix absolutely just running a clinic in that one. There's no way for them to enter. They're constantly getting split by the Mei, and just taking really good advantage of the fact that JCP just sort of lacked a glue and just sort of coherent team play this game.
I agree. I don't know what JCP, they were playing so well before, and they were playing so together before, and now they looked all over the place, frankly, and I don't know what they're quite thinking. But this is going to take us to map 5 of this series. This is going to be a close 2-2 game from JCP and Phoenix.
Yeah, maybe Creeps just brings that next level of communication and calls and leadership that allows JCP to really stick together and be a unit, and without him, they just seem super lost, always getting disconnected. And Phoenix is doing a really good job at holding their ground and just saying, "You're playing super disconnected, and we'll just play as a clump, and you're just not going to be able to beat us." Doing that.
I agree. I think that, you know, JCB has to pick it back up. You know, it's possible that, like you said, that they were relying on that communication from the side, and that's a lot of the times that's what better players can bring, is not only better game sense and mechanics, but they have that communication. And it's not single-handedly going to win, you know, usually, but it can be a lot of times, like you said, that glue that holds the team together. And without that, you know, JCP is struggling a little bit.
It does seem like that on the surface anyway, and it's, you know, they're also kind of being a little stale with their comps. They're not, I don't think I've seen Asperich play Winston once. I mean, he's been playing Ryan the entire time, and so I feel like if you're doing, you know, if you're just making no progress, change something, because it might be a little, just a difference might be what it takes to be able to play into that.
I agree. I think that, you know, this is last map. It's going to be really up to JCP for them to prove here that they're not, you know, riding off the coattails of Creeps, and that they're not, you know, lost without him to say, you know, wait, we are going to see the traditional rush come out from both sides, mirrored comps. Not mirrored comps, sorry. Ryan Diva from Phoenix and Ryan Zarya from JCP. But other than that, May, Cree, Baptiste, Lucio, standard rush. I don't know if either team really has a strict advantage. It's just which team pulls it together the better and plays this better at this point. I don't think either. I think these teams are exceptionally well matched.
Teams are definitely very close in the standings. I'd like to see if Zarya can, you know, do the big damage, see how much value they can get, or if the DM from Diva's just going to outplay.
Massive wall coming out from the side, but it's not going to find anything. They get a little bit overzealous, and Max dies to Mac Cub. Candy for Days go down by 7 Maples, but that is a lot of picks from the side of JCP. JCP, even though that Phoenix was able to get that great wall off, JCP is just going to clean up and finish this fight. Vic's trying to solo handedly take on a Dry Jack and a prize, but it's not going to work, and that is going to be an early point pick. That was excellent immortality usage from Mew.
Definitely. The wall super early, looking like they're getting a pick, but then Max over-aggresses on it a little bit and ends up getting caught out, and then that's just the fight all over once Max dies, because they don't have that shield, they don't have that main tank, they don't have that pressure being applied.
You know, we've talked about Max's confidence, and at this point, I would say that it is veering into over-aggression at times. We see them poking out from behind the shield. That's a big... We see the double windows come out. Both trade fire strikes. Kaiser goes down, but JCP is able to pick up the pieces. They take out the rest. That's going to be a team kill from JCP, only losing their Reinhardt. Now, we do see Max has Earth Shatter from that, but this is not looking good for Phoenix right now.
Not looking good. I mean, when you have two people who are using windows, I'd rather be the team standing on the outside versus a team standing in the hallway. And so when both teams use their windows like that, they've just got one team just standing in this little choke point, just getting totally obliterated by this amplified damage. It's very scary.
Phoenix deciding to change it up and go from underneath, but Dry Jack is ready for it. We see the ult from 7 Maples come out. We see some trades. Big boop from Vic, finding 2. And JCP, again, just able to find these key picks. These teams are playing like this is competitive. And it's 1v1, and they're all taking duels. And it's just what right now, JCP just has a little bit more target focus than Phoenix does.
JCP playing with slightly more coordination, and then just taking advantage of the early positioning advantage that they got by taking that first fight. And now they just have to sit back and defend. And Phoenix just cannot find an angle in.
I don't know if Phoenix is trying to get a little bit too fancy with it, or if they're just, not really quite sure where they want to go. We see Max's Earthshatter comes out, but he will get frozen. A big freeze coming out from Kaiser. Beat from Vic trying to stabilize, but it's not going to matter. Matt Cub finds Beast. Kaiser onto Max. Dryjack onto CSPPP. Everybody's taking out their respective counterparts, and that is going to be another team kill. And that is going to be 100-0 first point going to JCP. This is so back and forth.
It really is. JCP really just ran with that early advantage that they got and just took every team fight, matching every rotation that Phoenix tried to make, meeting them at every choke and just shoving it down their throat and not allowing them any entry onto point. Even though Vic tried with that funky double loop, nothing seemed to work out for them.
I agree. I think that Phoenix continues to underestimate the Zarya. They continue walking into these sort of traps. They're like, okay, let's go up top. All right, let's do it again. It doesn't work. All right, we'll go below. Nobody thought, let's just go from main, where they can't grab us super easily and, walk on us. And I think that they just really have to respect that, or they're going to continue to suffer. Max switches over to the Tracer. No Tracer from Seven Maples. They're still running the May Cree. And we'll see if Mac is able to find the value to justify not having that May. He's in the back line trying to find value, not really able to find too much. Dryjack does take out the Immo. Immos are traded from Seven Maples and Dryjack. Big pin, but is not really able to find too much of the Zarya bubble. It does manage to take him out, though, as his team follows up on it. Prize goes down. Mac does catch Seven Maples out of position. That's going to be a great pick. And now, one team is down to Reinhardt, but one team is down to May, who is arguably a tank in some ways. Mac is being very aggressive with his positioning. He's not going around for the back as much. He's diving straight in. Big Earthshatter coming out from Max. It's not going to be able to really get too much right off the bat. Mac Cub does find Nat. Kaiser finds the Beast. That is not looking good. That Immo from Mew is just the savior of these fights here on Oasis.
And Matt Cub doing a great job at just being an utter nuisance in the backline, taking out like 3 or 4 people that fight, just one by one by one by one. And one thing that I want to see is CSPP is playing D.Va, but hasn't taken advantage of the fact that he has full control of this high ground. JCP has no control over this high ground. And they're not taking
pick from Vic onto Mew. The grab comes out from Dryjack trying to catch CSPPP and the rest of his team. Not really seeing too many eats from the side of CSPPP, despite playing the D.Va. He's really not playing D.Va much of a bruiser, to be honest. Nat not able to find Kaiser despite getting the flash right click on him. It is going to put JCP on the back foot, though, even though they're missing their tanks. They are going to push forward onto a Prize. A Prize just giving up that space. Even though he's got that BAP, he's got that Lucio, he shouldn't have that space. He cannot handle just the raw damage coming out from the May Cree and Baptiste, and this is going to be an extended fight. Matt Cub finds Vic with the pulse bomb. That's a big. Mew managed to pop that window, trying to take out Max, but it's not going to work. They're going to be able to control this point and take back the point at 63% to JCP.
A really elongated fight starting out with a flank grab, and it ultimately just ended up with Orion plus a DPS and a support versus 2 supports, 2 DPS, and they just rolled over that Reinhardt and eventually took the point after a really slow push.
We see a little bit of this corner neutral game happening. Again, like I said, CSPP not taking this high ground, not offering any sort of resistance against them. He's not playing the Bruiser D.Va. He's playing a lot more passive, trying to peel for his teammates, and I understand that, but it's, if you're going to be doing that, you really have to be eating that. That's a big pick again. Seven Maples sending that icicle straight into Matt Cub's head. Not going to be able to do anything with that Tracer. A Prize deep in onto Phoenix. That's going to be really risky. Kaiser not going to be able to get off that high noon, even though he wants to. A Prize goes down. That was a very aggressive and ambitious play, and I don't even know. I think JCP got lost there. I think that they got caught up in the rotation and confused.
Yeah, of all the champions that I thought were going to be countering this Tracer, I would not think it would be Seven Maples May. But here we are. Just Mac has been such a problem this entire map, basically winning the first fight for his team. But Seven Maples finding that crucial pick, making it so that they just have way less damage.
I agree. We're seeing a rotation come over from the side of JCP. We see the May ult trying to catch it. It's really not going to be able to catch it. Does force him into this wall, though. Double Earth Shatters coming out. Max proving he is the alpha. He takes down a prize. Kaiser does find Nat with the high noon, but that is going to be a very messy fight from JCP. They're not able to find these picks. Kaiser caught on the flank, not able to support his team. And it looks like, is anybody going to be able to touch? A prize coming in, trying to touch last second. The Lucio from Candy just trying to stall it, and we are on stall picks now. This is going to be a matter of whether or not Phoenix can secure these kills very quick. Prize goes down, then Max goes down. 7 Maples cleaning up, not even contested. He is proving that he wants this MVP. He wants this skill. Another pit. His May is godly. Candy for Days now 10 HP at one point, just trying to survive, goes down. A prize is now back. They're just trying to get these staggers down, and that is another point. And we are going to 1-1 in map 5 of this series.
I mean, it started out in the same way with JCP taking early control, but this time, Phoenix found an angle in and managed to take it back and just keep it for the rest of the match with exceptional play coming out from 7 Maples. Really just finding crazy picks with these right clicks.
Yeah.
I mean, you really love to see that coming from a player on your team. I mean, and, you know, I mean, we'll have to see how this goes. CSPPP still on the Diva. And I'm not sure I like it as much on this point because the high ground is a lot less helpful. I think Zarya probably have more value.
JCP having that, you know, very clean rotation straight on the point, forcing Phoenix to have to push into them. Phoenix is caught in this room, pushing through a very tight choke, but a prize gets too big for his britches and cut out by Vic with the headshot. That's going to be real rough. Candy for Days finds himself in the middle of the spawn. He's forced to duck down. Nat just finding easy picks on the support line. Mac does eventually shut him down, but Vic is like, hey, see you later, man. You're not staying up there by yourself. And that is going to be a very quick point take from the side of Phoenix. They are missing their McCree, but therefore so is JCP.
Oh, prize. Just letting down a shield for a little bit too long and then just bink, bink, bink by the Lucio. You really hate to see it. Getting caught out that early makes it extremely difficult to play.
Save him. A price gets booped over the top. He's not going to be able to get killed. That's so big. Matt Cub taking the high ground again, just trying to free fire on these supports, trying to find it. DSPP not pressuring him out, finally taking him out, but he was able to be there for so long. He's not going to be able to get back to his team, though. It's a big pick from CSPPP. Maybe not as fast as we would have liked to see, but still big. Shattering the shield, not being able to find anything from the side of Max. He does. We are going to keep both tanks up. They're just trading back and forth. The shatter from Prize does come out. Max finds himself surrounded by the enemy team, washed in a sea of red. CSPP is demech Nat trying to stagger. It's just Saul picks it this time. We have the May ice walking on the point, just trying to get those few precious percentage points. And at 7% point is going to transfer over to JCP.
Yeah, at the beginning of that fight, both Nat and 7 Maples died to Kaiser and Macub, and that just, both at that point, both DPS are dead. That's a very difficult fight to take when you're the side of Phoenix without all that damage.
An early ult from CSPPP, not able to find anything really. Matt Cub with the flank high noon, catching 3. What a great feeling. He finds both DPS and the bees. That's no immortality field to help you. Kaiser gets his blizzard eaten for CSPPP, but it's not going to matter. They're going to take point. And Max looks like he's digging a tunnel underground. Little bit caught. I don't know if he got booped in the hole. I might have missed it, but he's going to have to get back with his team now to try and get this push in.
Definitely a goofy little thing, you know. I think Max trying to get payback for all the big high noons Nat's been getting this game.
For real. A big blizzard coming out with another high noon to match it. Not really going to be able to find too much directly, but it is going to force JCP to sort of relocate, and that is going to give Phoenix the point control that they want. A prize goes down. 7 Maples walls are incredible. Even though Matt Cub is trying to take the high ground again, CSPP is trying to keep an eye on him. Matt Cub does manage to take him out. This could be the advantage that they need, but not by himself. Kaiser finding Nat. That's not a good pick. You don't want to lose your McCree, even though they lose theirs too. But they have the reinforcements on the side of JCP. They're going to be able to push in real quick, even though that Phoenix got the point switch. It's going to be JCP cleaning up kills, taking out Vic, taking out the Beast. Even though CSPP coming in right at the last second, trying to get these last few percentage picks. He's managing to stall. It's 81%, and then he's going to go down right away. And that's going to transfer point control back over 84%. What a tiny take, and flip the switch back over to JCP's control.
Phoenix just got a little bit too aggressive, and that killed them, having two of their players picked off at the beginning of that, and then Phoenix just rolled right in and said, "This is my point now."
Phoenix is moving quick, and they have to, because this is the last fight. We see both Blizzards come out. Massive eat from CSPP, finding Dry Jack's grab, but a prize does take out Vic. You don't have that speed now. Both Earth Shatters come out from both sides. Mac finds Nat. That's going to sting. Kaiser. Oh my goodness, this is a massive pick from a prize onto 7 Maples and CSPP. That's it. JCP has taken it 3-2.
What a match. That was crazy. That last fight was really well played by Kaiser, getting a massive mail, shutting down all chances of counterplay, and really just well played by JCP in those last couple of games with that amazing coordination. Oh, that boot.
Wow, that was a heck of a game, going to point 3 of map 5. You know, I don't think I could pick two teams to be closer in this right now. That was as close a game as you get.
Really?
Short of a draw on 2CP, but what a map. That was fantastic Overwatch from both sides, and I think both sides should be extremely proud of how they played tonight. We saw so many back and forth flips, so much going on that both sides played excellently, and I think that both sides should be very proud of their performance.
Indeed, both teams definitely have really, really solid aspects of them, and definitely stuff to work on both sides as well. You know, there's no shortage of just high quality gameplay, honestly, towards the end, especially from Maples, and it was really especially from Maples and Mac, because both of those guys were popping off at moments and really carrying the games, making some points easy and other points not so much for the other team.
I gotta agree, and I think we saw some real outstanding plays, particularly on the hand of 7 Maples from Phoenix. He was just the entire game providing consistent value, which is something you desperately needed from your DPS, but he was always finding it. His Mei was popping off. His Tracer was consistently finding value, which is sometimes an even harder task. But that was a great game from 7 Maples. He should feel very good. Give us 1 second. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Maples should definitely give himself a pat on the back. He played out of his mind, and definitely was a big reason why Phoenix had a chance in this match.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that, I think that at the end of the game, both teams played so well, but I think Phoenix just got a hair too over aggressive at the end. Right. I think that last push where they pushed up too far forward, CSPPP had already gone down to Matt Cub on the high ground, and it was just killer.
Definitely.
And that's got to sting when you know that one fight lost everything. But that's just how it is sometimes in Overwatch.
When you're in games that close, it all comes down to a mistake or two that really just makes the entire match spiral out of control. And that slight over-aggression, that them getting picked out, it's just totally over. And it's really sad to see.
I totally agree. Well, we are going to a quick BRB, and then we're going to be having our winners interview with a member from JCP. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with that interview. Hello, everybody, and welcome back for our post-match interview. We are joined by JCP's star Zarya player, Creeps. My name is Miraculous, and I'm joined by Enzo. Creeps, hell of a game today. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. Gonna be honest. Wasn't really planning on playing this game today. I kind of forgot we had a game. Spent most of the day either doing homework or smurfing in Valorant, so I wasn't really warmed up. And the boys were like, "Hey, you wanna play for JCP?" And I was like, "Sure." So I hopped in.
Well, you had some great moments. Me and Enzo were talking about it. You had some very great plays. Your Zarya at times was just sort of running around circles around the enemy, but at other times you guys were facing a lot of, maybe unexpected opposition from Phoenix. What in your opinion was keeping you guys sort of on the back foot from Phoenix that you weren't expecting?
Um, I'd say the Tracer was doing a pretty good job, especially in the first game that I played in. They were doing a good job being a nuisance. Their Winston, I feel like their coordination could have gotten better. Their double bubble wasn't the greatest. His dives weren't the most fantastic, but I think the main thing that was difficult was the tracer.
That makes sense. Enzo, do you have a question?
So throughout that game, what would you say allowed you to exploit the enemy team to really take hold of that advantage and push through and take the maps so aggressively?
Well, me specifically, I utilized a lot of boost jumps, especially onto the high ground, a lot of flanks. Us as a team, though, I think our comms are a lot better, probably than theirs. I think we were probably about even in SR, but I think our comms were definitely better, especially
Hmm.
when I was playing, because generally I'm pretty decent at calming. I was calling a lot of strats, I was calling a lot of pushes, what ults we're gonna use and stuff. And that stuff doesn't always happen when I'm not playing, but it was there, and I think that allowed us to take those two games, and then the last one as they were more getting comfortable.
Well, we could definitely tell that your influence definitely had some unifying effect on your team. But I think you guys played very well tonight, and I think you guys should be really proud of this victory.
Yeah, thank you.
Enzo, if you don't have anything else,
I guess just one more thing. When you're playing in a map and you see like there's what made you go for that like grab when you're totally by yourself and you just saw three people on top of a roof and you grabbed him. What makes you go for those sort of plays? How do you get in that situation?
Um, you know, I think I called to my team, I'm going on the flank, and we had already gotten like two or so picks, and I knew I think it was my Lucio was coming behind me soon, so I just went for it. And then I think he ended up booping off maybe two of them down after the grab because they were all grouped together. So, it didn't seem like the greatest grab because realistically it wasn't if he hadn't followed up. But
Hmm.
yeah, I just kind of felt like going for it, and luckily my team was there.
it's awesome that you're able to trust your team for that follow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
thank you very much, Creeps, for joining us for that interview. We go ahead and take your night off. Hope you enjoy it, and rest on those laurels for a very nice win.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Sure thing. And everybody else, thank you so much for coming out to this very good series of Overwatch. We saw JCP and Phoenix play some excellent games today. And Enzo, do you have any closing remarks?
I'm just gonna say I'm excited to see how JCP comes along in the rest of this tournament. They didn't have a so good start, but they didn't have a so good start against the best teams in the tournament. And now that they're going up against more middle of the pack teams, I'm really excited to see how far they can get.
As am I. Well, thank you everybody for coming out to support Owlet. We appreciate every viewer that's in chat, and we hope that all of you have a great rest of your night. Take it easy.